Find your own voice, lead from within. With me today, I have Robin Snow, Carol Ann Cooper, and Dr. Biggie Tan. Please, Robin Snow, introduce yourself to our audience.
Oops, you're muted.
Hold on, I'm
Yeah.
muted. I realized. So my name's Robin Snow. I'm the owner and director of Glow Yoga Kids here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So we offer kids yoga and mindfulness classes in schools and daycare centers and a bunch of other venues and avenues as well. And what else? I'm an author of 2 children's books, and I have a cat who will definitely be across the screen. I mention it every time because she inevitably walks across my face at least once within our talk show. So that's me. Carol Ann, do you want to go next?
I'd love to, thank you. And yeah, it's lovely to be back. It just seems I've not been here for just over a week or 2 weeks, and it's like, wow, where's the time go? Yeah, so I'm Carol Ann, and I'm as the writing facilitator. I support women in becoming more productive with their writing by helping them to connect with their deeper innate ability to write. But more importantly, they experience free-flowing writing. They experience an unlocking of the writer within, of getting their book written, getting their story written, because you cannot publish what isn't written. And all of this has come about through my own journey of unlocking the writer within. So, Dr. Brigitte, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Surely. Thank you so much, Caroline and Himsa and Robin. Let me ask you, have you ever experienced something so unpleasant that you might still feel the pain? Somewhere in your history, perhaps it's something that's going on right now. A lot of time we have things going on in our life that causes us so much pain that at times it might even feel painful to breathe. What are you going to do with that? One options would be to actually use the pain and turn it into purpose that feels great to you was. And as a grief transformation coach, it's one of my specialty actually is to help people. We all have things going on in life. We experience life, but at the same times, you can definitely choose to be in pain, to be bitter, or to take the pain, turn it into purpose, and become much better. And stay on, and we'll share with you how to do that.
So much. Thank you so much, Dr. Bigot. So our topic today is how to turn pain into purpose. Sometimes it takes a while to climb the mountains and to get that breakthrough that we desire in life. Pain can teach us to work on our priorities in life, or sometimes it can teach us to basically take authority within our lives, or sometimes it can teach us different things. We can is how we respond basically when comes to pain, when it comes to life. We all have a choice. So today we're going to be basically covering how we respond to pain to find our purpose, and how it can help us basically to have the authority in our lives and gain more confidence and take charge of our lives. So, Robin, do you want to start? How?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, this is something that this topic is something that is very close to my heart because I personally deal with a lot of chronic pain. And so, I mean, there's a couple of ways, like you said, Nomsa, that you can respond to that type of thing is right. Like you can wallow in it, and that's fine. And there definitely was a time where I wallowed in it, and I feel like that's okay to have those moments of like, this sucks and this isn't fair. But once you realize that everything that you've suffered with and all of the things that you've gone through can be used to help somebody else, it really can change that pain into something more valuable. It can create it into something that you can be over time grateful for, right? For me in particular, kind of being able to change that pain into something that was like a gift for me, was a gift for me. So even though it's like, this sucks and I'd rather not have pain, overall, it's made me personally a healthier person because I've been searching for, you know, the answer to the pain. Why is it being caused? What's going on? And so I like created all of these different systems so that I can, one, minimize it, but also kind of get to know it better and realize what's going on. So inevitably, I can help other people when they start to go through that type of thing. Obviously, purpose can come in many different forms. I just find that when you kind of focus on gratitude and helping other people, that it can really transform that into something that isn't so sucky. Isn't so sucky. It doesn't, I just feel like it transforms the way that I even view it, right? And then in turn also reduces it, because then I'm not so focused on being in pain all the time. And it just keeps the cycle, right? It actually helps to reduce it, being able to share that wisdom that I've learned through the pain with other people. That's kind of my initial thoughts. I don't know who wants to take it next.
No, I love that, because you do have a choice. I love what Noms has said, that you can choose to stay in the pain and wallow, or do something about it and move and somehow release that pain. And there is, I think, what I've come to realize over the years is that actually it is our body talking to us and we don't listen. It's the only way our body has of saying, there's something not working here. There's something needs addressing. Wake up, listen to me, because ultimately, whatever's going on with your soul and your inner child, everything comes down to the physical body. The physical body is like the last port of call. There's nowhere else that the pain can go, or the message that is trying to come through can go. So if you're not listening, what starts off as quite a small pain actually gets stronger. And I remember when I was, I ended up with my knee just blown up like a balloon. I couldn't move. My ankle was swollen, head, neck, and shoulders just like locked tight. And I was struggling to move. And what I found in that was there was a resistance to me actually being willing to take the step out of teaching, or to trust that I needed to step out of teaching into what I'd found and discovered, which was educational kinesiology. Knowing that I needed to start working with this and training in that, because it didn't fit with me being a teacher at the same time. The two didn't go together because it was confusing everybody. It's like, well, are you a teacher or are you this? What's this new thing you're bringing in? And I knew that I needed to sort of leave teaching, or I wanted to go part-time. In my head, it's like, okay, let's go part-time teaching, part-time doing this training. And I was attempting to figure it out in my head, and I couldn't. And eventually, it was like the universe said, here, take this. And then I was just stuck. And it took a year. And I did end up leaving that school that I was at, because I was off ill, and then I left. But then I found another job, teaching post, in a post-16 college, where I literally saw the advert, got an interview, got the job. And I suddenly realized, oh, wow, this is what I've been asking for. it was part-time. It was 0.5 of a time. So part-time teaching, part-time able to set my business up. I didn't need to try and plan it all for myself. And so I was then able to, my body started healing even more then. But I certainly learned a lot through that. And so sometimes we don't listen to our bodies, we don't listen enough. And so it can become quite debilitating, you know, the pain. And so it is listening. And there are lots of different techniques and tools. And there are a few that I've experienced, and there's some that I've trained in. And the one thing that I really love, that I find supports, is actually saying that pain is only an emotion. So what's the emotion? And then you can dive into and work with the emotion, because all of a sudden, as you were saying, Robin, you're exploring it, it starts to shift and change. Because by working with the emotions, you can find that deeper, the deeper purpose, and go deeper with that. So certainly there is a purpose for the pain, as much as you might not like it at the time, the pain. It's like, how much are you fighting it? And how much are you willing and choosing to then let go and find a way of releasing it? What are your thoughts, Dr. Brigitte?
Yeah, I love that. One of the, excuse me, one of the late very prominent personal development persons, Bob Proctor, used to say that all disease begin in the mind. And to be honest, the first time I hear that, I find it a bit irritating. I say, what do you mean? You think I'm just thinking this up? Or do you mean that I kind of like wanted to to bring this into my life, which is neither, right? You're not just making it up, or you are in here and say, well, okay, I'm creating all these things. I mean, it was quite offensive to me to hear that, even though I was physically healthy and everything by then. But was like, well, that's very unkind and very uncaring and very offensive. But as I learned further, as I know further, we know that there is a mind-body connection. And when we think about the mind, actually, people think about up here a lot of the time. But the mind in our body, the true mind, the wholeness is not up here, but also what's in our heart. The HeartMed Institute has shown many times, as well as other studies, has shown that our heart has intelligence. There's a heart intelligence. And the heart actually, intelligence is a lot stronger, a lot more comprehensive, and works a lot faster than the brain. So, in other words, I think the number is somewhere in the vicinity of 10 to 100 times faster than the brain. Sometimes your brain could make sense of something. You ever have this experience? It makes sense to you in your mind, but something, particularly with grief, earlier you mentioned about somebody who has a breakdown, Munsa. Particularly with grief, as a grief coach, I see people. It's been told many times by counselor, by general counseling and psychologists and psychiatrists. Oh, this and that, and they're like, you know what? Everything makes sense, but just something in my heart can't take it, just something in my heart rejected. And before they even in that scenario, before they even manage to get it past, it makes sense, but they can't move. It makes sense. It still hurt them so much that the heart, the pain from the heart is so much stronger, so much faster. It goes through the whole body. And our body is connected. The heart uses blood. The heart uses all these elements in the body. So yes, it could be in the emotional, and there is something called unrecognized hidden grief, where sometimes at the beginning you notice this, but if you try to say, "Oh, I'm going to be strong, I'm going to be brave, I'm going to be all these things," you buried them. It hasn't gone away. it just gone silent, and it actually does express its pain in ways. So many unrecognized pain started up being visible, and then what you know next is actually physical symptoms. Many times we see that, and then when we and you go to every doctors, every specialist for the physical part, they can't find anything, and or it might started seemingly from an accident, and it just seems to not want to resolve. And many times I see this when somebody have an accident because of the pain from the accident that caused the emotional distress. They just have to go back to resolve the original grief and actually resolve the physical symptoms as well. And sometimes it takes a little time. Sometimes it's like within a week. It's seemingly like overnight of something that sometimes happens for years. So it's very common to have physical pain causing emotional pain, causing more physical pain, or emotional pain. As you mentioned, Caroline, distress and such to cause a secondary physical pain. And it's not because you're a bad person, not because you are banking things up, not because you being in whatever way that is negative, but it's the nature of the body that sometimes we do want to recognize and use it as an opportunity to be better and bring better results to all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Biget. I like when you say unrecognized hidden grief. So unrecognized hidden grief can actually destroy our lives if it's not dealt with. It can be a really, really pain. And Carol Ann, that was Robin. And Robin, you said when you're going through something, try to focus on changing someone's lives. I think when you try to change someone else's life, it actually helps you to find your purpose through that pain because you are. Oh, hi, Padman. Padmaja, we missed you. Hi from India. We are in UK and Robin is in Canada and Dr. Bigot, she is in America. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. Feel free to type how you've dealt with how you turned pain into purpose, please. And Robin, you were saying you have to basically try to help somebody else when you're going through something because it basically helps you not to focus on me. And it also helps you to find your purpose through that because when you are helping someone, you get to find strength through that pain, and you get to when you get to focus on gratitude as well. You mentioned gratitude. You get to transform your life as well. When you transform your life, you get to look at these little things that you are grateful of that people take for granted. And Carol Ann, you said we need to listen to our body, physical body. We need to listen to that inner voice that when it's telling us that something, we need to focus, pay attention on ourselves and pay attention on what is going on. And sometimes, yes, we do need to, we need to know that we need to listen to that inner voice because sometimes the warnings can be there. Oprah calls it a whisper, and you need to listen to it because every problem, when the problem comes, there must have been the signs, but sometimes we choose the signs. And Carol Ann, you said that you learned that you don't have to plan it all on your own. And this is something that people learn the hard way, that they believe that I have to be strong. I have to show up and wear this mask that pretending that everything is okay. Even if things are not okay, I don't have to share my problems with anyone. It shows weakness. So how can you find your purpose if you are hiding your problems? You have to find somebody. You have to trust your beliefs. For me, basically, when I'm going through something, um, Dr. Biget, you know that I always ask when I'm going through something. And Carol Anna, you know that when I'm going through something, I always ask for advice. Just because I'm a coach, it doesn't mean that I know it all. So, in order for you to find the purpose when you're going through something, you have to show up for yourself, even though you don't feel like it. Show up for yourself and learn from that pain, and ask yourself as well the right questions. Some people, they will say, why me? Why do I have to go through this? This is the basically the wrong question, because when you ask yourself why me, you end up going into that feeling sorry club, and then you stay there. So you can ask basically the right questions. What's this opportunity, this pain? What experience am I learning at this moment? And how could I actually look at this experience in a different perspective? What if something good can come out of this pain? And then that's when this question is for Robin, where is what Robin has added that you need to focus when you say what if something can come out, something good can come out of this pain? That's when you help somebody else and not focus on yourself. And also the lesson uh, that you are learning from that pain. The lesson, when you learn a lesson from something, that's when you find your purpose. And there is a song that, Hold On, and this song says, how can you smile when the world is crumbling down? Those are the lyrics. And then it goes on and say, I have a secret. I'm smiling because I'm holding on to hope. I'm holding on to faith. I'm holding on to God. And then he says, tell me your secret. For me, basically, my secret, when I'm going through tough times, I ask God, show me my hidden secret. Show me anything that is hidden in my life that can move me forward. And because I know, like Carol Anna was saying, I'm not on my own. I don't have to go through the pain on my own. And some people don't believe in God, but I do believe in God. And if you believe in something, use something that you believe in. And even if you don't believe in God, God is always there to help you, whether you are a believer or you're not. Some people, they don't believe in it, but I do. For me personally, because there are some things that I had gone through that he showed me that, Nomsa, I am the creator of your destiny, and no one comes before me. When I'm going through tough times, there were some things that I was homeless for 7 months, living with my father-in-law, Carol Ann and Dr. Biget. But at that moment, it showed me that not because I didn't have the money, I couldn't find the house that I wanted, and I got let down last minute. And that moment, there was an experience that showed me that, Nomsa, just because you have money, it doesn't mean you can solve all the problems. But I had to hold on to God. And there were some lessons that I've learned, that my time is not his time. So his way is his way. I just went on and went on. When the guy came, I was so surprised how amazing things can go quickly. Basically, I found the house, and it took the guy his time. I lost the person that was helping me with the house. And when he did turn up, normally when you're looking for a house, they have to do some credit checks. They have to do everything to make sure that you qualify. But the guy did not qualify me. He disappeared, and then he comes back. He want my signature without qualifying me. And I was like, what the heck is going on? I was fasting that moment. When he disappeared, I decided to focus on fasting, focus on my church, and focus on people around me to help them. And when he came back, I thought he was coming back to do the process of financial checkups and work, whether can I afford this. But when he came back, he was like, Oh, no, sir. I'm sorry. So basically, I need you to sign. I'm sending you the forms. I need you to sign for the house, and I need you to pay the money. I've sent the account details, and I was like, what now? And I was like, you're not gonna do the checks. I didn't bother to ask. I was asking it in my heart. Physically, I did not bother to ask him. I was like, okay, God, this is how you see my pen is going through that. You want things to shift. If this is how it's gonna shift, let it shift. And I just let him, and I just paid and did whatever he asked me to do. And it showed me that basically when you're going through something, I have to hold on to hope in my beliefs as well.
Mm.
Over to you, Robin or Carol Ann or Dr. Biggett, whoever wants to take over.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's so many things that I want to say.
Say it all. Say it all.
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like it's something really important to mention. I don't think I mentioned it before, but when you're in that place of, as a better example, probably physical pain, that enduring physical pain that doesn't stop, that is like something that is constant in your life, it's very hard to get out of the way of that. It's very hard to think positively and, you know, turn it into purpose and all of that great stuff. Like living with physical pain on a regular basis is extremely exhausting. And so the energy to actually transform things is like beyond what most people even deal with in their lifetime. And so I feel it's really important to mention that, because as someone who lives with chronic pain, feeling validated in that, in knowing that like when you're in pain, it's okay not to be okay, is I think something really, really important to just mention if anyone's watching that like is going through pain, because I promise you that anyone who's going through physical pain on a consistent basis has been told, just think positively, just change your mental state, just try and think about what's going to get better or how you can turn it into purpose. And it's the most annoying thing on the planet, because you're literally in it and you can't see anything else because it's blinding. It's truly blinding. So I think just mentioning that to start is really, really important, because like I said, it can be very frustrating, because you kind of look at the people around you, especially the people that are saying that, and you're like, you're not in pain though, so you don't understand what I'm going through, right? And so validating those that mental state, and acknowledging that it's okay, and it's okay for a time to be in it and to feel it, right? Especially you know, if you've gotten like a diagnosis, like a very serious diagnosis, because for example, someone with cancer, you know, they're not going to be like responding to you just being like positively, because they have cancer and it's serious and it's important. And so I feel like it is really important to transform and shift that mentality, but also to validate the feelings that people are going through in those moments, because they are very, very hard. I to flip that most of the things in life and beautiful are born out of struggle and are born out of pain. And so, for example, babies being born, or you know, seeds and roots pushing through the earth, or flowers bursting open, or lotuses growing through the mud, right? There is so many things in the world that are literally born and created out of suffering and pain. And it just shows us that around us every day that there's constant miracles, that there's constantly these little things that are happening, or that are showing us that yes, something beautiful can be created out of pain, right? And so if we look to nature, if we look to those things around us, they kind of, the pain almost makes us feel connected to something bigger, right? It makes us feel connected to just the way of the earth and the way that the earth moves. nature constantly reminds us that in order to have a breakthrough, most often there needs to be that first, right? We see it in the patterns of Earth, the seasons literally follow a life and death cycle of that being reborn every season, right? Our bodies naturally do this for women, especially during the menstruation cycle. It's literally a cycle of birth and rebirth and death. Literally, that's what it is. It's like connecting us, right? And so, you know, a lot of women struggle with like, you know, PMS and menstruation symptoms as well. And that's literally that suffering that's kind of like bringing us to this new rebirth place. It's like that constant cycle of like, let's get through, right? And it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to realize that, like, as a woman, we're super connected to the earth. We're super connected to nature. We have that because we're moving through this at the time, because we can be, you know, reborn out of pain. And I feel like what we talked about before about, you know, you can't necessarily control when it's coming in, because sometimes it can be very unexpected. You know, yes, maybe it has some sort of emotional connection, but we don't always realize more months stuff, so it can come very suddenly. And so we can't always control the event, but we can absolutely control how we respond. And so even though we might not choose the painful journey, our response to it really, really makes a difference, right? And so, yes, feeling pain, experiencing pain, letting yourself in the pain for as long as you need, and then a way to respond that is going to serve you, right? And usually that looks like dropping things that no longer serve you, which is really, really hard when we start collecting things in life, like careers and friends and all of those things. It's really hard to let them go, especially when we don't know what the end result is. We're working, and like Mom said, we're planning ahead, and we're thinking we know what the answer is, and then something happens, and it's like, well, there goes all of my plus. There goes everything I had intended, right? And because we can't see the end, it feels very painful in them. It feels really horrible. But always retrospect, we're like, that was actually a great thing. It was a blessing, right? Because it led me to this, right? And it's the same with physical pain. It's the same with emotional pain. It's the same with any kind of suffering that you experience in your life. I feel like in retrospect, it's like, oh yeah, okay, I see what happened. But definitely in the moment, not ideal. So just, yeah, transforming that, I think, once you've gone through it, really transforming that into, you know, how you can move forward as a person, and realizing again that the most beautiful changes can really come through suffering.
And yeah, it's there's a huge amount of trust the process that goes on here. And it's testing, I think, your trust and patience. And yeah, it is okay to to experience the pain. And I think this is where, when you try and fight the pain, you actually make it worse, because you're tensing at your body and there's a fight going on, rather than working with it and going, okay, it's here, and asking questions and being with it. So, and yet it can go on for a long time. Who knows how long it's going to carry on for? It's, again, comes down to, are you choosing to hang on to it, or are you wanting to do something about it to let it go? And at some point, you may then decide, well, okay, I'm ready to let it go, or what is it? Maybe explore the metaphor that's there, because I found I love playing with metaphors. So what words am I saying about it? And would ask myself, okay, if there is a part of me that's hanging on to this pain, for what purpose is it hanging on to the pain? You know, to start again asking all the different questions. And how could I then release the pain? what do I need to do in order for this pain to be transformed or to be released? And sometimes it's just staying open to new opportunities. And it's being aware of how closed-minded are you in terms of what you attempt to do to help the pain or solve the pain. Because the number of times I hear people say, oh, I've tried everything. Well, I'm sorry, you haven't. You may have tried a lot of things, but you haven't tried everything. Because I've discovered there are so many things out there. There are so many ways of supporting your body and supporting illness, supporting pain to get healing. And it's staying open to that. And every time I've asked my body, okay, so what do I need to do today? Is it one of the things I'm trained in? Is there someone I need to see? Or is there something else that I haven't yet experienced? And very often something else would pop up and it's like, oh, not heard that before. And so I've explored those avenues and help, pain is shifted, released. And sometimes it is just being aware that pain may be the same intensity, but has it shifted location in your body? Because this was something that helped me with when my knee was, as I say, fully, swollen and like a balloon and really painful. It was actually recognizing that the pain was moving. So rather than keep saying, oh God, it's still painful, it still hurts, it was, okay, so the pain is got the same intensity, but it's in a different place. So for me, it's like, oh, it's moved. Something's changing. And if you can recognize tiny shifts, tiny changes, it was that helped me to keep going. And so, yes, certainly, it's not about fighting it. It's not about making it wrong. And there are beautiful ways you can play with the words. What are you saying to yourself? And look for the metaphor. And that's what I love playing with. I love playing with the metaphors that come up. So, if there's anything going on with your heart, maybe. Is there heartbreak? Is there heartache? Is there something that's going on in your life or that has happened that you find yourself referring to your heart? And then what's going on with your heart? Go and look at that issue and heal that issue that happened before. Because I know with the journey work, with Brandon Bayes' work, with the journey, we go into the body and we find where memory is stored. And once you've transformed that memory and come to a place of forgiveness, it's amazing how all of a sudden the body, this healing starts to happen. The pain gets released and you have freer movement. This healing happens. So it is about talking with your body. And what I love, I found somebody had written that according to the Bible, suffering causes our focus to turn inward, to face those parts of ourselves we might otherwise ignore. And I know that it's made me look inward. It's made me look at parts and things that I've ignored. And by looking at them and working with them, it's created amazing healing. And yes, my knee did end up mending, and I was able, it went down and I have movement back again. Does it mean that I'm completely free? There are other things that have shown up. There are other things I had diagnosed at the time that are still ongoing now, 20 years later. I'm working with it. And it's showing up, and I'm realizing what the metaphor is here. And I'm now finding people showing up in my life that can support me with this now. I shifted my focus again. So trust the process, trust and patience. So yeah, Robin, it can take time. It can take time, and it is I've had to learn patience. I've really had to learn patience. So, Dr. Bishi, anything else you want to add there?
Yeah, I love that. I love what Robin says, and you as well, on the particularly from acknowledging and allowing yourself. A lot of times, one of the main thing, one of the common theme that I have people who come to me for by then complicated or become a lot a much worse scenario of grief is because actually they go around and they're being told, you got to be positive, you got to be strong, you got to power through this. And sometimes they think they're like, I'm gonna be strong, I'm gonna, well, I'm not gonna be if I have pain, I'm gonna keep running, I'm gonna run through that. Imagine this. Imagine you have a broken and you're going to keep running through that. Where do you think you're going to end up? And at the same time, some of us, I'm going to focus on the positive. I got broken leg or broken heart. And I'm going to focus on the positive. And I'm going to keep running. And I'm not going to feel the pain. I'm going to keep running until I don't feel the pain. It's possible for you to not feel the pain from that, say, broken leg when you keep running. But please know this, in some cases, in many cases, you might not feel the pain there anymore unless the situation actually fully and thoroughly resolved. You displace the pain. This is what hidden grief is, unrecognized hidden grief is about. You might, and this could happen even with the physical thing. You might say, you know what, I'm no longer feeling the pain. And
Mm.
there are times when it's actually you push it away and then it's muted into something else. And so that's something you want to recognize. And so if you are in pain, whether emotionally or physically, and practically and having physical pain, then later cause emotional pain. There was one time I was in a car accident a decade and some ago, and feeling pain every day is exhausting, emotionally exhausting. In addition to this physically, you trap in these dark bubbles, and so you do want to first of all, if you're choosing to keep running until you don't feel the pain, then that's your choice. But just know that with emotional pain and physical pain that come from that, or physical pain that cause that, whichever way it goes, that one of the things to navigate through grief is to actually allow, to just, it's okay to sit back and cry like you are in a crying competition, or scream like you want to scare the whole neighborhood. And that's actually something I actually encourage my clients. And it's like, you know what, it's okay. Like you both say, like Caroline says, the body know. In my book here, Seeking Peace, it discuss about the body knows. There's 3 different type of tears. Human has 3 different type of tears. Why? Because the body know when to use them. Human has different pain. This is in biology, different pain connection. Why? Because the body know. So if things happening for you, with you, the first thing is to actually say, I want to just allow it, allow you to be you. Now, at the same time, just like many times, just like the Grief Recovery Institute coined it in the term, the 1% responsibility, and I think it's Kofi Annan's, but I might get the name of the UN Secretary General incorrectly. But one of the United Nations Secretary General used the term chosen optimism. And what it is you acknowledge what's going on. You let yourself cry. You let yourself scream and ask, do I want to continue to be in here? And if the answer is no, if the answer is no, then it is up to you to say, okay, well, I'm in here. And sometimes it feels like you have tried everything, like Caroline says. When my dominant hand suddenly become paralyzed, this was only in, what's it, 2018, 2019, my dominant hand, just like that, out of the blue. In 2 weeks, to the point that I could not even hold a pen like this. I live in Los Angeles and I'm a doctor. And so I have access to the best doctor, a contingent of them, basically, a whole team of them. Nobody could figure out why. And I have emergency MRI like nobody's business. It was like, hello, I'm grateful that I am able to have all those. And, I keep saying I want it to complete, to resolve whatever it is in the way that I would love it. No surgery, no chronic medications, any of those. Well, at the very end, I tried everything, supposedly everything under the sun, this and that, chiropractors, acupunctures, nothing helped. And then somebody said, you might just want to try this thing. It's all external product. What do you got to hurt, to lose? To buy these things, it will cost you about $250 after, who knows, probably $25,000 worth of tests by then. Thank goodness for in here for health insurance. But I said, you know what? It doesn't sound like it makes sense. It sounds like it's impossible woo woo. But I tried it anyway. Well, in 3 days, it's improved. In less than a month, everything resolved. My hand, my arm stronger than it was before. And so, yes, to allow, and at the same time choosing, even with cancer, if you or your loved one encounter cancers, my heart with you. And at the same time, as an oncologist, I have seen many, many times as an oncologist, patients who have the best result are the one who says, yes, I have cancer. And when we can have cancer instead of allowing cancer to have us. Is it easy to do? No. But that's where support come in. Not just from an oncologist in terms of the medical thing, but also somebody who can understand your feeling, who can understand the grief you're going through with cancer, who can understand how you can take what it is, whatever the result, how to be able to move through the journey of being in pain with more ease and being able to transform the result to something you want, even if in the physical form at this moment it's still very discouraging. So I would just say, I would just keep those in mind. Allow yourself. Social media are so much into pushing and running and be strong and be positive and look at this and at the same time we might just want to give yourself a hug. You deserve it.
Let's go running. Be strong, be strong, be strong. I agree with you, Dr. Biget. To me, I cry. When I'm going through something, I cry. But when I cry, I don't know what happens. I scream, I cry. But when I cry after that, I don't want that problem to hold on to me anymore. And I've got books, so I have choices of books. I pile them up and get a big stick and get the frustration out, or pillows. It depends with what's available in that moment. The pillows, pile them up, and I just bash everything and cry and cry. And when I'm going through something, I don't like somebody telling me that be strong, because I have to experience the pain. And then when I experience the pain, then I then have to choose which path do I need to take. Do I need to hold on to that pain, or do I need to let it go? So then I have to work on my healing after that. And also I have to ask questions. Why this pain? Like Robin, you said, it's okay not to be okay. And you said going through struggles, that's where you find that breakthrough, and that breakthrough that you need. And I think it is a very, very powerful statement, because when you are going through something, it basically forces you to actually focus on who you really are at that moment. But there are some people who hide through pain. When they're going through something, they hide through it. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to people to know what they're going through. Like Dr. Bigot says, I don't know which dictionary that says human beings are got to be strong, and mostly men, they don't want to talk about it. They just want to be strong. I don't know who told them that they can't cry, they can't confide in somebody else. So for me, basically, I scream, I cry. And Carol Annie said, try to find basically a solution and release the pain, and trust the process. That is a big statement as well. For me, basically crying, when I'm crying, I'm telling God that, God, listen to my pain. And I'm asking God to raise his voice on my behalf, to fight for me, this pain that I'm going through, to release whatever I am going through, or if there is doors, or if there is anything that I have caused, this pain, or if I have sinned, or my parents or my ancestors that has raised this pain that is affecting me. So when I'm crying, basically it's me telling God that, God, I'm not okay. Can you fight for me? Can you help me to find a way? Can you? And at the same time, I have to hold on to faith. I have to hold on to hope. And I have to hold on to action. I don't just sit there. There's times where I stand still and trusting the process. I have to stand still for one day, because like Dr. Biget was saying, there's so much information. Everybody believes that I shouldn't feel this way. I should not be. I should be like everybody else. But the healing, the process is different. To find purpose in what you are going through, you're gonna have to trust. You're gonna have to basically, you're gonna have to know that everything is gonna work out fine, and you're gonna have to find ways to help others who are going through different pain. They don't have necessarily going through your whatever you're going through similar. You can find those ways to help others, and also try to when Carol Ann said trust the process, trusting the process, it does not mean you have to doubt yourself. When you doubt yourself, that is the minute where you have to say problems, speak to the problems, because problems is life. Speak to them, tell the problem that I am aware of what's going on. And at this moment, problem, I'm going to find a solution and I'm going to come back to you. And you can't ignore it. You can't go around the mountain. The mountain, you have to go through it, to climb it, to see what's on the other side. Because what's on the other side is where you find your purpose. Everyone that is here is a coach, is a speaker at Ngosi Talk Shows. They have had to experience some hard times, because life is hard. Life can be tough. There is some things that they have to go through in order for them to be here today. So if anyone is watching and you're struggling to find your purpose, and you are going through pain, and you believe that I should not been going through, why God, why do I have to go through this? You can't choose anybody. Les Brown says, who are you choosing to go through pain? So it's okay to go through pain. All I can say is get in touch with these guys, any of our coaches. Don't go through pain, grieve alone. Find a coach that you connect with at Ngosi Talk Shows. Get in touch with them, and just work with them, and they will help you to find your own voice and lead from within. Any words of encouragement, Robin, before we leave, please?
Yeah. It's hard because I feel like again, when you're in pain, that any kind of word of encouragement can often feel not again, like I mentioned already, like I've always found that when people try to give me words of encouragement when I'm going through pain, I found it to be very annoying. Because I'm like, you don't know. You don't know what's happening right now. So stop trying to tell me. So I don't necessarily think I want to leave a word of encouragement. I think that instead, my number one piece of advice would be acknowledging the pain. Acknowledge that it's there. Don't try and run from it like Carol Ann and Brigitte and Nomsa said. I think, often we try to avoid it at all costs. It's like how we spend our whole life. We want to avoid things that are unpleasant and avoid pain. But really, I think it's most important to just acknowledge that it's there, and and try and move forward from there. Once you've acknowledged it, then you can start looking at, what's my solution? Where can I go from here? Who do I need to speak to? Etc. Right? Until we acknowledge the pain, there's not really any way of moving forward from it. So acknowledging it and then going on. That would be my last word.
And I so love what you were saying about nobody knows what you are going through. They may have their own experience, and I can, does it resonate? Or I get what you're saying. It's like when people say, "Oh, I know what you're going through." It's like, no, you don't know. You don't know. You know what you've been through, and you know how it has been, but you don't know what it's like for me. And so I think it's having that awareness. And for me, it's been able to actually find the words for myself and the strength to say, and be grateful that person is attempting to understand, and find your own words to describe it. Because that I've found power in, is finding my own words to say what it is like for me. And it's also helped me to not say to others, well, I understand what you're going through, because I don't. I know what pain's been like for me, or maybe a similar thing I've been through. I know how I experienced it. What I now do is it's asking that person, well, what's it like for you? How are you feeling? Can you describe the pain or explore it? It's actually getting into their world and understanding it from their point of view. That's the best way that you can help someone else. And I'd just like to leave people with something that I read yesterday about Viktor Emil Frankl, who was a Holocaust survivor. And he found the strength to fight, to stay alive, and not to lose hope by thinking of the purpose in his pain. That's how he survived. And he actually saw that it was those who had nothing to live for who died the quickest in the concentration camps. So I thought that was just something, just to think about. Dr. Brigitte, do you have anything last words of wisdom or encouragement to leave people with?
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much, Caroline. I would say when you are in pain, whether it's physical or both physical and emotional, and in general, like we say, it's prolonged physical pain will cause you emotional pain because it's just exhausting in many different ways. then the first things is to be, I would say, is to allow to be. I hear you. I hear you, and I would say in this scenario, as Robin say, it's more of a word of empathy. I hear you, and I can only imagine how you are feeling at this moment. And so, uh, just at the same time, no. Sometimes it's easy to feel that we are alone. And it's natural and understandable that you feel that you're alone and that there is no hope. And that can be seemingly very true. And at the same time, just know you are not alone. And just go from that place that you are not alone. You are you, you you are definitely valid where you are, because sometimes when we have so many things going on and people say all these things, it feels like we are invalidated, but your feelings are valid. And at the same time, please know that even if you feel you're not alone or you are alone, you are not. And so you are invited to reach out. Because sometimes seems like the most trivial, strangest things, like with my hand experience paralysis, seems to just super strange and trivial things just help actually. So I hear you and know that you're not alone. If you are in pain in any way, shape, or form, please to reach out because you deserve it and your loved one deserves it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Biget, Robin, and Carol Ann. You bet me laugh, Robin, and saying when you're going through something and somebody says, I know what you're going through. I would say liar in my head. I never say to anyone, I know what you're going through. Basically, for me, basically, when somebody calls me and they're screaming, I know that my job on the other end is not to be, not to play psychologist or not to play a counselor, is to listen. And just to listen, this person is screaming and shouting. And unless I've been asked questions, that's when I will give my opinion. And also, I give my opinion when somebody's going that way instead of focusing on the grieving. I'm like, can we focus on what you're going through right now? Forget about everybody else. That's all I say. Because some people, when they're grieving, they're like, this person did this, they did this. But sometimes it doesn't help when you're going through pain to focus on the actual pain and not anybody else. Because if you bring into so many people into pain, your heart will get confused, your mind will get confused, and then you go to confused.com. But if you focus on the pain and heal yourself, then that's my words of encouragement, that if you're going through something, pick up that phone call, ring somebody that you know that they're not gonna tell you what to do or try to give you some advice. They're just gonna listen to the other end and just tell you that I hear you. I hear you. My siblings don't like it when I'm just listening, and it's like they're fighting with somebody. Or my brother likes to bring me in when he's fighting with somebody, is making having disagreement with somebody, and I'm like, I hear you, but I ain't gonna get involved with your fight with this person, because when you guys make up, I'm gonna be in the middle here. So I'm here as a sister to give you a cuddle, to tell you that I love you. But anything else, I don't want to get involved. That's what I do with my family when they are disagreeing with each other. I'm just there basically to tell my family that I love them. Everything is gonna be okay. And because if you make a comment, you make things worse. So I try not to comment. And we are here at Ngozi Talk Shows Monday to Friday, UK time. And YouTube family subscribers, please When you're watching this video, remember to subscribe to our channel. And if you want to get in touch with any of our coaches, Dr. Bigot, Robin, or Carol Ann, please do. And live with grace, everyone, and God bless. Have a beautiful weekend.